Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Western Cohort Breakout Space. So this is the cohort that actually Paige Goldmarsh was the leader of this year. And she's amazingly here, though she had a baby less than a week ago. But I'm going to be facilitating our work with her. I have the pleasure of working with her, and we don't want her working too much tonight. So
Thanks.
I'm happy to be facilitating and getting to be with some of you who I did get to meet a few times this year. And before I turn the show completely over to our impressive fellows, I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that what we're about to do, which is celebrate the accomplishment of young women and young trans and non-binary folks, is really rooted in our tradition. So if you think back to the book of Judges, we meet Deborah, the prophet, who was a military leader, a prophet, and a poet. And it wasn't enough that she led her people, the Israelites, into victory and also judged there was peaceful times for 40 years. What was important was actually that she also sang a song about what she did. And not only did she celebrate herself in that song, but she also celebrated Yael, who played an important role, even if it was a bloody one, in helping to win the battle and restore peace. And we even see that with back in the Bible with Miriam. After crossing the Red Sea, we have a big song that Moses sings of the victory, but we also have the song that the women danced to and that Miriam sang. And so singing praises and getting to feel the joy and the pride of our work is part of the work. It's an important part of the work. So I'm really excited to do that. And I'm going to now turn it over to Gabrielle B. and Maya for our first presentation.
So Gabrielle is actually having issues joining the breakout.
Okay. So maybe we'll come back to you so she has time to join? Yeah. Okay. Michaela and Julia, you're on.
Okay, I think Michaela's in here. Hold on, let me double check that actually.
And if people want to see better, we can't spotlight in breakout rooms, but you can go to speaker view and then you'll be able to basically have the spotlight.
Okay.
Maya, it's still on
breakout room. So I'm gonna try and see if I can assign her to us.
Oh, she's not here?
I don't see her.
Okay, moving on.
Sorry about that.
You go find her. Oh wait, I think she's coming. Oh no, Vera's coming. Okay, that's somebody else. Genevieve and Em, are you both here?
I'm jumping in for a second. I'm Michaela Brown's mom. She's trying to get into the breakout room, but they're not moving her yet.
Okay, I'll try to see if I can get her in.
I think I got it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Michaela, are you here? That's okay. I think someone else should take our place.
Okay, so let's go with Genevieve and Em, and then we'll move our way around. You are both here.
I'll just share it on my computer, the slides.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because I'm on two screens right now.
On.
Take a breath, everybody. We're dealing with technology, and we're happy to be here.
Oh God, sorry. Okay, can everyone see it?
Yep.
Okay, great. Am you ready?
Yeah, I am ready. Okay, so our project is called Intertwined Expression, and our mentor was Lucy.
Okay, so Intertwined Expression is a virtual art exhibit We have curated with our own art and art from a multitude of artists from a variety of backgrounds to discuss the lack of intersectionality within Judaism and feminism.
So, intersectionality. Intersectionality is the interconnected nature of social categorizations such as race, class, and gender as they apply to an individual or group, regardless creating overlapping and interdependent systems of discrimination or discipline.
The lack of intersectionality within Judaism and feminism is very harmful to marginalized groups. Both Jews and feminists are marginalized and oppressed communities, so the lack of intersectionality within them lacks a safe space for people that don't fit into a white, Western, socioeconomical state, cisgendered, and straight category.
So our goal with the project was to discuss this gap and work towards raising awareness and changing the community. To be more inclusive for all, we have multiple art mediums within our exhibit created by people of varying backgrounds that are able to express themselves and the harm that they have faced, fear of facing, or change that they want to see. We have discussed and hope to choose an updated theme for the exhibit in the future to honor that.
And at the bottom, we have a link to it, and we can also put it into the chat for you guys, and you guys can look around in the exhibit.
All right, I forgot to say, but after everybody goes, let's just give them a little hooray. Shall we take a moment to look now at the exhibit?
Yeah, just let me get the link so I can put it in
Wonderful.
the chat for you guys.
All right, as that is loading, she says she's in the main room, but she's not. Oh, wow, amazing.
Should I share my screen or are we getting that pulled up somewhere else?
You can share your screen for a moment. Is everybody seeing it? Beautiful.
Still loading.
All right, so, or I can share mine because mine is loaded. So why don't I do that for a moment? Here's page 1. Oops. Maybe I shouldn't have done this. Do you all want to tell us something about what we're looking at? I think I'm doing something strange.
Yeah, so as you were trying to figure it out, it's actually a little difficult to maneuver. I totally understand that. You can see on the wall where you're facing that some poetry that we have. One of those is actually my poems, and then a few of the other ones are from different people we collected from. And then on another one of the walls, we have a few paintings and things made from other mediums, as well as we have a sculpture. And the idea is that although we can't have a physical exhibit, we wanted to do a virtual one and make it as realistic as possible. So the idea is that when you like walk through, you can use your computer to kind of maneuver and look at what you want to look at in the order you want to look at to discover all the different types of art. And when you
Wow.
they have either a little bit about the artist who made them or something about the piece itself. So there's information as well with each individual piece of art.
Amazing.
And like Em was saying earlier during our presentation, we hope to continue this and get more artwork from multiple other artists and continue to create art and raise awareness on intersectionality, the lack of intersectionality, and hopefully change that.
Thank you so much. That is really amazing. And we all have a place we can explore later this evening. That is really wonderful. Okay. So great to feel like one can be in a museum. Michaela and Julia, are you now in the house?
Yeah, I'm finally here.
Wonderful. We're so happy you made it, and so sorry that was frustrating. And it's your turn. Are you ready? Do you need a moment?
I'm good. Michaela,
Okay,
you ready?
great.
Yeah,
Great.
we're ready.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. So our project, we made a zine called Bossy Magazine, with a cute little name where it's like boss and then the Y's in parentheses. And the goal of our zine was to focus on the double standards that women face kind of in all areas of our life, and just to draw attention to how pervasive double standards are in general. So to start out our project, we just sort of sent out a big survey to as many people as we could get to take it. That was basically just share your experiences. What double standards have you encountered? How have they affected you? The focus was on in the workplace, but just sort of feel free to share your experiences. And we got a lot of really great responses from that. And so that was sort of our jumping off point to make our zine. And we were able to speak with a really wonderful woman, Sarah Shapiro-Plavin, who Michaela interviewed. So maybe, Michaela, that's something you could talk a little bit more about. And we've been working this whole year to just sort of put together this really cool informational zine that I'll put the link in the chat right now if we want to check it out. Yeah, Michaela, do you want to share a little more about the celebrity and social media components?
Yeah, sure. So we wanted to include a celebrity aspect in this. So for example, we used influences like Taylor Swift and Elizabeth Moss, where they both talked about what it's like to be treated in the industry as a woman. And some examples are when Taylor Swift says that a man does something strange, or a man does something that it's strategic, but when a woman does the same thing, it's calculated. And then Elizabeth Moss talks about her experience in the industry as well, and about the double standard she faces. And then we also talked about some influences in like the media. So we talked about some movies that talk about the double standard, as well as music. We actually have a playlist linked that you can scan with your phone, and you can playlist. And so some examples of some movies and TV shows that we have are Pieces of a Woman, Moxie, Miss Americana, Gilmore Girls, One Day at a Time, Sweet Magnolias, Fleabag, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and we have a bunch more like that. So if you want to check out the list, it's right there. And I wanted to further talk about my interview with Sarah. So I emailed her and asked her some questions. And she basically talked about her experience working and how she's been treated differently due to her gender. So for example, during job interviews, she once was asked if she was going to have children, which is not allowed anymore, but that is something that she faced. And she also created this project, which is called the Gender Equity in Hiring Project. And it's really, really interesting, and I think that you should go check it out. So she was really interesting to work with. So yeah, Julia, if you want to add anything else.
Yes, we want to call on all of you guys, because we made this really cool zine and we've got a whole bunch of places that we want to share it, but no one knows the Jewish community better than the Jewish community. So if you guys know of any other zines, publications, organizations that might want to feature our zine, I'm going to put my email in the chat and I can get you a whole bunch of information about that. And we have some email templates that you can use to reach out on either through email or on social media. So please, we're inviting all of you to be active and get the zine out there.
Wow. So inspiring and worth the wait, Michaela. We're glad you joined us. Feel free to put your comments in the chat to celebrate this amazing work and share it out. Yeah. Right. So Gabrielle and Maya, are you here?
Yes, we're good to go.
All right, excellent.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, so our project is called Hovering Del Mundo, and our mentor was Robin.
So one aspect of our project was our Instagram page, which was in general a hope to like share environmental racism learning and sustainability learning through informative and interesting posts. So we talk about all sorts of things on there, definitions of environmental justice, consistent Biden administration updates, which are really interesting, California legislation, and we're going to talk about one specific one that we helped with in a minute. And just a lot more. We spend a lot of time on research and to give you the most accurate information and up-to-date information that we can. So I will link that in the chat if anyone wants to check it out for some excellent environmental racism learning and maybe give it a follow if you want to get some more consistency. And now Gabrielle is going to talk about my personal favorite aspect of our project.
So we also wanted to make a more tangible impact in our own communities. So we decided to partner with the nonprofit organization Amigos de los Rios. And so this organization works to create more green spaces in Los Angeles and to protect the San Gabriel Mountains by making the trails more accessible. So throughout the year, we helped them with a lot of different research. One of them was research surrounding different religions' views on the environment. We also helped email different organizations to help gather signatures to pass a certain Environmental Protection Act in the House, and it did pass in the House. So now we're working to pass in the Senate. That's pretty much it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone other than me who wants to say a word of appreciation for this project? Thought maybe we could share the appreciations. Yeah, they're in the chat. Really inspiring to see the partnership and all your work on Instagram. Thank you so much. All right, moving along. Izzy and Julia G.
Julia, I can share my screen if you want.
Okay, great.
Can everybody see that? Okay, so I'll just kind of give a brief intro and then I'll pass it off to Julia. So basically, we wanted to take a topic where abortion is kind of dominated by the Christian / Catholic narrative kind of in our everyday lives. And we wanted to take something as polarizing as this issue and make a 3-part curriculum that kind of just educates people and gives them a broad background. While with something like this, you have a lot of strong opinions, but not a lot of people are very well informed on why they have those strong opinions. And we wanted to kind of give it a Jewish twist to see how those two things intersect. So I'll let Julia explain. I just put in a few slides from each of the curriculums, but I'll kind of let her explain what curriculum 1 and 3 were about, and I'll explain more about 2.
Yeah, on the next page here, we have a timeline about the US history of abortion, all the way starting from before its legalization, and then to current day. We actually have our 3rd lesson is all about current connections, so this is more about the legislation. And it was really interesting to learn about how before abortion was legal, the Jane was run by a Jewish woman called Heather Booth, which we also learned about in our a movie for one of our retreats, but she was very proactive in expanding access to abortions for women who needed safe medical abortions. So that's what we have in this slide as one of our topics of curriculum.
The other one transferred over from the first one, but Julia focused more on the medical aspect because I think this next one is from 2. So Julia, do you want to like finish out what 1 was about?
Yeah, we also included a brief medical overview of the different types of abortion and the side effects associated with them.
And so then slideshow 2, we took a lot to kind of how it connects to Judaism, and then more about foster care and how abortion and a lack of access affects the mother. So we did a lot of research about this. So these were from Jewish websites that looked through different sources to try to find where things like this were mentioned in Jewish texts. So obviously you don't need to read it all. Here's just a few quotes. And then here's just an example of what some of the other slides would look like. So really just a lot of information and statistics was what my presentation or slideshow 2 was about. Kind of how a lack of access or a lack of choice on the mother's part affects the child as well, which I think a lot of people don't take into account when they're talking about this. And then as Julia mentioned before, here's a slide from number 3. Number 3 focuses a lot on modern responses. So I'll let Julia just explain about that for a second.
Yeah, we for our curriculum, we're going to share some texts and articles that talk about each sector of Judaism's view towards abortion and how that differs, but then in general, what Jews believe. And then I think I forgot to mention it, but in the first lesson, we also talk about Israel's views on abortion and their history. And then this is an excerpt from our 3rd slide of how the effects of on current day of the Hyde Amendment and how when Medicaid doesn't cover the cost of abortion, it can make it very difficult for minorities and people of color.
So then we also just made 2 Google Forms, one that participants would take before they start the curriculum and one after, just to kind of see how their opinions have changed or how their general knowledge would change over the course of learning about something, kind of as nuanced as this issue is. So that's that.
Thank you, Izzy and Julia. This is going to be important as we're moving into a even more perilous time for people to have the education. So we appreciate it a lot. All right, everybody, if you need a stretch or anything, we have amazing more fellows, some more to go. So give that to yourself so you can keep listening. And obviously there is so much to learn from and so many questions to ask everyone. And let us, for now, go on. Lane.
Yeah, all right. Let me share my screen.
And I forgot to say that you can say where you're from because our Western cohort is quite diverse.
I did this wrong. Share screen. All right. Let's see. Yes. All right. So my name is Lane. I use she, her, and they, them pronouns. And along with my wonderful mentor, Jenna Shaw, I created Curiosity, an LGBTQ resource guide for high school educators. So before I kind of talk about what's in it, what I ended up writing and how it got there, I wanted to go a little bit into sort of why. Personally, I go to a school in the Bay Area. I live in the Bay Area, and it's a really weird environment being a queer student because on the one hand, you have teachers sort of trying their best. But on the other hand, I noticed that there's a rather like intolerant student body. There have been instances of homophobic and as well as anti-Semitic hate crimes on campus. And going to this project, I really wanted to make a difference, sort of in my sort of home base at this school, being a senior, wanting to create tangible change for the future of queer students at my school. And I decided to do this by educating the teachers around me who clearly had a willingness and a desire to learn, but weren't necessarily fully informed. So in order to grasp what needed to happen, I sort of did research in 3 separate ways. My first starting to research was interviews. I got to interview some of my current as well as past teachers on inclusive teaching practices, how they had gotten support, where support had been lacking, either at the school or throughout the district, and where and what they wanted to learn in the future. And then I also sort of talked to students around me. I held an affinity group for LGBTQ students at my school to debrief what the queer student experience is, both at my high school, but also generally. I'm lucky enough to be very good friends with the president of my school's Gender and Sexuality Alliance, so I got to lead discussions in a couple of those meetings as well, so I could really focus my work on the queer student experience and understand what students wanted teachers to know, but also what teachers wanted to know. And then lastly, right before I started writing, of course, I had to do a bunch of research online, and I came across some really great work by folks like GLISTEN, which works on LGBTQ inclusion in education, the Trevor Project, which does LGBTQ mental health, but also has lots of great resources for things like coming out and LGBTQ inclusive sex ed and that sort of thing. And then with all of this research, I actually wrote a 30-something page guide with these 4 topics. So I talk about gender affirming language, pronouns, gender neutral pronouns, all that sort of thing. I talk about social emotional support, so coming out, what to do when a student comes out to a teacher, how to understand microaggressions in the LGBTQ community. I had a section on gender and sexuality in athletics, which is becoming really important as we watch the anti-trans legislature in the South. So in places like Tennessee and Florida watches like athletics becomes really a battleground for LGBTQ inclusion. I add LGBTQ inclusion in academics. So that's queer history, that's queer theory in the classrooms, inclusive sex education, and then lastly, how to teach this content. And that's where I delved into these student experiences, where they're like, oh, I had a teacher that did XYZ and it made me uncomfortable, or what is tokenization and how can we be aware of that? And so I have like this broad range of topics, and I just wanted to show you, these are snapshots from my guide. So I have charts about all these different neopronouns, which teachers weren't educated about. I have part of my section on microaggressions and what they are and the different types of microaggressions. I cite a lot of lesson plans and teaching material in my history and English section to show teachers that the work has already been done and they just need to go and find it. And that's something I wanted to make sure was really important in my guide, to give them these resources. So it's not just a place, but it's a starting place. It's not the end goal. And then lastly, that's my project. I was really fortunate enough to present it to staff last Tuesday, and I got really great emails from, oh shoot, I missed it. Can you send me the guide? To the social studies department is freaking out about your project and we're so excited to make change. So I was really excited to see that come to a conclusion. If anyone has questions or think my guide could be useful at their place of learning, so high school was the target audience, but I could see it being useful in a religious school or middle school setting as well. I'm happy for you to email me with any questions about implementation or anything of the like. And that's just a quick sort of overview of my project and what I've been spending the last 5 months doing. Thank you.
Wow, Lane. I hope you get to look at all of the comments in the chat, and it's incredibly, I have goosebumps. I'm thinking about what it would have been like to have this in my hands. Thank you. All right. And for those who are not picking up everything in the chat, I'm committed that we're going to send out all of the links to all the program, the way you can get in touch with them, all the Instagram links. So don't worry if you're missing some of them now. And we're going to go on to Eliana.
Hi, sorry, let me just share my screen.
Eliana, you were frozen for a moment, I think.
Sorry. Can you guys see
There you
it?
go. Yeah, we're starting to see. Yep.
Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Lovely. Okay. Hi, I'm Eliana. My pronouns are she, her, and this is my blog, Ellie-esque. And my mentor was Rachel, who I think had to leave early, but I want to thank her anyway because she's been super helpful throughout this process. So this site's going to be an interactive blog site where I can share what I'm thinking and feeling about what's happening in the world. I want to discuss both current events in relation to Jewish texts, and I also want to balance that out with some of the more random things that are on my mind, because I think that during the past year, we've all felt the weight of the political climate and the injustices in our country. And I think it's important to balance that out with something a little bit more light and funny and just less serious. So I chose to create this blog because I have felt guilty in the past about sharing my thoughts openly. I have the privilege of being white, and I sometimes wonder if I'm not the best person to be speaking out about all of these things. I feel guilty for taking up time and space that I feel could be put to better use by people who know more and have experienced more than I have. But I think that this site is going to be a place where I can share what I'm thinking and feeling without guilt, because I've created a space where I feel comfortable. And this is a space designated for me, and people who are reading it are choosing to read it. So I don't have to feel guilty about like sharing my voice too loudly. I chose the name Ellie-esque because it has my name in it. I thought it sounded cute, and I also wanted it to remind me that anything that I put up on the site is my own material. I want it to authentically reflect how I'm thinking and feeling. And the reason I chose to do a blog is because I wanted to create a project that could change with me, that wouldn't just be set in stone, that I could update as I am witnessing different things happening, because I want to dedicate myself to being a better activist. And so hopefully that will be reflected in the website as I grow. So when this launches at the end of the summer, you'll be able to find it at this link. But for now, you can go follow Ellie-esque on Instagram at this handle. I don't know if you could see my mouse. And I hope you guys will follow along and read what I have to say. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to reading what you have to say. And I'm glad you're taking the summer to continue figuring it out and finding your voice and sharing it. And now we will go to Zoe Lanter.
Hello, everybody. Let me just get set up here. Okay, can folks see the slide?
Yes.
Fabulous. Technology is not my forte, but we are making it work. All right, so hello, everyone. My name is Zoe Lanter. I'm from Los Angeles. My mentor is Andrea Folks, and my social change project is about owning our voices. So this project is a concise guide to ways that we can speak confidently and with more assurance. It's broken into two sections. One, what are ways that you minimize yourself, especially in group settings or when speaking to authority? For example, you might be guilty of over-apologizing. And two, what are ways that other people try to shut you down? This could look like condescension or interruptions, any way that other people try to stop you from using your voice. So this guide is all about seeking to point out some of these habits and provide alternatives for you. The project is based on sociolinguistics research about gender differences in speech, specifically in group settings. and of course, my own experiences, the experiences of friends and older women in my life. This project is really important to me because our speech is an extension of our values and is a facet of how other people interpret us. So why this project? A couple years ago, my mom told me about a Google Chrome browser extension called Just Not Sorry, whose aim is to eliminate from digital communications, sorry, just, as in, I just wanted to tell you, and other words and phrases that minimize the effect of one's speech. While a browser extension is super cool, it ultimately doesn't follow me around in my phone calls or in person. It's this kind of patch on the real issue of having the tools to recognize the habits that aren't in line with my values. Your confidence and comfortability speaking is not a joke. You deserve to be heard. Women and those socialized as women have a tendency to minimize themselves in group settings or in front of authority. While our culture prefers women's silence, as feminists, we cannot entertain that. So even though I'm this confident young feminist, I found myself for years reverting to some deep subconscious habits when I was in groups or speaking to authority. I'd over-apologize, I wouldn't follow up after getting interrupted, the whole gamut of habits that really says, hey, I'm not confident in what I'm saying. So this past year, I've really focused on catching when I fall into these habits and trying to eliminate them. Now for the fun part, how does this guide work? The best way to show you is through an example. So tag questions are when we rephrase a statement as a question that asks for validation. Some examples would be, that's just how I feel, you know? Or I think this might be a better alternative, right? I mean, like, what do you think? Or I don't know, is that too much? So what is this tag question doing? It's saying that you're seeking reassurance and it doesn't even show that you have confidence in your own ideas. What can we do instead? We can rephrase our tag questions as statements that communicate that we believe in what we're saying and we ourselves take it seriously. You are your #1 advocate, so I ask you all to talk like you know you deserve to take up space and deserve to be heard. Thank you. You can reach me with any questions at zoelanter@outlook.com. And now for Miri and Hannah.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay. Can you see this? Okay, great. No?
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
So our project is called A Stand, which stands for Assault Survivors' Truth, Advocacy, and Necessary Discourse. And the people working on this is me, Miri, and Sandy, our awesome mentor.
So our project works, sorry, I'm mumbling now. Our project works to provide the public with an impactful performance of the play Slut that questions slut shaming, victim blaming, loyalty to friends, and sexual assault in America. And this is our logo.
So just to give like a little bit more context, here's what the play looks like. This is the cover. And Gloria Steinem actually gave like a comment on it. And she said, Slut is truthful, raw, and immediate. Experience this play and witness what American young women live with every day.
So this is a little overview of our project journey. So we brainstormed ideas, we landed on this project, A Stand. We have gotten feedback and we have contacted different people to work on getting actors and directors for our reading of the play. And now we're moving forward with that.
Yeah, here's our social media. So we're using this kind of as a progression tool, sort of like this presentation. So right now we're kind of spreading out information for people interested in participating, whether that be acting or editing or directing, kind of giving that information. And then later on, we'll give more information in terms of announcing when it's happening and how you can come and watch and things like that.
This is our flyer with a little bit more information about what we're aiming to do, what we're looking for. Just a quick summary, we are looking for female identifying actresses. So if any of you would like to be in our show, you can email us. And we're aiming for a performance near the end of the summer, and we want to get as many people as possible involved.
So we'll quickly go through our next steps because we're still we're going to be working on this throughout the summer. You said.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. So in the spring, so now what we're doing is we're kind of focusing on the outreach portion, and we're reaching out to potential actors. And so this has been like a lot of emailing and contacting, and spreading the word, and we're giving this presentation. So again, spreading the word if you're interested in participating. And then through the summer is kind of when we're going to begin the creating process. So we're going to have our first crew gathering. We're going to begin rehearsals and recording. And then in the fall, we're going to edit it and promote the viewing party, so more outreach. And then we're going to view the presentation, and we're actually going to have a panel as well for that.
So that's just a quick summary of our project. Our Instagram is _stand_, and these are our emails. So you can contact us with any questions or if you want to get involved, and we appreciate you listening. Yeah.
Thank you.
So exciting. Can't wait to see the play. And for our very last presentation of this evening, Allie, Ava, and Adina, we welcome you to share with us.
Hello, my name's Allie Tarkoff. I'm from the Bay Area in California, and my pronouns are she, her.
I'm Ava Lifton. I'm from LA, and my pronouns are she, her.
I'm Adina Kurzban. I'm from LA. My pronouns are she, her.
So we've been working on a body image website, and in addition to our website and Instagram that we created, we also just created a short video that encapsulates what our video is about. So I'm just going to share my screen to show that to you all. Can we all see that? Okay, cool. Your Body, Your Image is a website featuring stories chronicling people's journeys of both self-love and self-discovery. They're accompanied by corresponding articles on body image. The website provides a healthy platform for people to share their stories and spread the message of self-love.
To me, Your Body, Your Image is advocating for people to be able to experience self-love in a way that I wasn't able to when I was growing up.
If I were to give myself one piece of advice surrounding self-love, it would be to stop criticizing all the things I see wrong with my body and start thanking my body for what it provides me. Oftentimes, I find myself getting stuck worrying about my appearance that I forget what my body's purpose is, which is to thrive and help me perform unlimited duties throughout the day.
I feel most confident when I've had a good workout and I feel strong and healthy.
Just seeing the messages that we get through Instagram and hearing firsthand from friends and family of how the work that we've been doing has influenced them in a positive way and has made them love themselves more.
To practice self-love, I like to get off of social media and listen to music or play guitar.
I go and put on a nice refreshing face mask and read my favorite book.
Face masks and bubble baths.
I
Go on drives.
Going for a walk.
Working out and meditating.
Hikes and walks.
Reading.
So that was all. And we're going to put the link to our website and Instagram in the chat so that you could go and check that out.
Amazing. What an inspiring group. And we are now going to return to everybody so we can celebrate all of you and all of the other incredible folks in the other cohorts. Thank you so much. And I know that I'm not the only one looking forward to spending a lot of time continuing to learn ambience.